Man, oh man, oh man. Let's talk about this whole Ebro in the morning situation, man. More and more have come out since this whole fiasco started, where they got canceled for almost after 20 years of being on Hot 97. Peter Rosenberg, Ebro, and Laura Stiles got their show canceled on Hot 97. Now, when I did my last video, Ebro said they were going to do their own podcasts and things like that. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and, see the first episode and see how it's looking. And when I looked at it, I'm like, bro, like you couldn't spend money on a studio. You couldn't rent no equipment. You couldn't do anything to make it look professional. Like I thought when I watched the episode, I'm like, is this 2020? Like, are we in COVID? You know what I'm saying? And I remember they was doing the episodes in COVID, but I'm not even going to talk no more. I'm going to let you see a footage of it and let me know what you think about this whole situation.
The only thing that bugged me is the way it went down was just so classic radio. I just didn't expect it at this stage of my career to get the, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm here with so-and-so from legal. That's how the call started.
Yeah.
Hey, it's so-and-so. I'm here with so-and-so from legal. I went, okay. He went, Peter, today's going to be your last day. You've been terminated. And that wording after nearly 20 joints was a crazy. I was like, you didn't just hit me with the, I've been at the auto plant for 20 years joint. And you didn't just.
A lot of the work that I did up there and giving space so we can have the conversations with activists in the community, supporting AOC before anybody supported AOC, having Mom Donnie up before that was the cool thing to do. Like Jamani Williams, Erica Ford, shout out to Dana Ratchlin, shout out to Tamika Mallory and my son. Like we did a lot of work in creating Carmen Perez. It goes on and on though. I mean, you're naming the main ones who we've had repeatedly. Rosenberg and them used to make fun of me, son. Because we would do like real activist talk, and they would be like, "Yo, this is gonna get 1,000 views on you."
No, 1,000. Yeah, that was when things were.
And I'd be like, "Yo, man, I don't care, man. We doing it."
Yeah, no. And I'd be like, we just. I don't. Did this.
But I guess the tough thing.
He's Sharif on the cooler in Menace to Society. Like, just come on, man.
Listen. If you making moves in the community and you trying to better people's lives and figure out how to get them through the next day, the next week.
The thing is with this whole situation is it will be, I think with all three of those personalities, they could get a podcast shaken. They could do good in the podcast space because they have name value. Peter Rosenberg has name value. Ebro, even though I can't stand him, he has name value. Laura Stiles has name value. I think with this episode, unless they go and do future episodes, if it's going to be in that format, and I didn't get the clip, but when I saw Laura Stiles, she was on the plane. She was on a plane. She wasn't even in a little space where she could record or whatever. She was on a plane. So it's like y'all just went ahead and just did a free fall and didn't even think about, okay, let's go ahead and chill for a couple of weeks. Let's get a space. Let's run out of space and let's go ahead and start a podcast. I mean, if you look at successful podcasts, we go back to Joe Budden. I mean, people looked at Joe Budden's podcast when he first started. Yeah, it was a little space or whatever, but you could tell, you know what I'm saying? Back in 2017, it was a podcast space. And then you had guys like $1 million worth of game. They went ahead and, they had their little space. And even when Roy and Maul left, they had their little space and Drink Champs and all that. But you could tell that they took the time and invested in equipment to make sure that they had a decent podcast when they first started. I know Ebro got money. I know Rosenberg got money. And I know Laura Stiles got money. So between the three of y'all couldn't go and say, you know what, let's make it as professional and as presentable as possible. Even if you have to spend the extra money to rent a studio space out, it will be something that you would, it would make you look good. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I think they didn't take this seriously. They thought because I got a name, we've been on Hot 97 all this time, that you're going to get 1 million views on the first drop. No. You know what I'm saying? You have to make it look presentable at first. You know what I'm saying? If you're going into this podcast space, and you've been in this podcast space before, I mean, because you've been on SiriusXM, you've been on Spotify, you know how this podcast space looks, especially when you're on YouTube. It's different when you're doing it radio. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you're doing a radio show. But when you're on camera, it has to look professional. It has to look like you care. And when you do it this way, it ain't 2020 where you couldn't be in a space together. This is 2025. This is post-COVID. You can have a space where you can actually do it. And I think the problem with Ebro and Rosenberg is that they got a little bit too cocky, thinking that, oh, we can do it anyway and people are going to watch it. And then you go talk about, in the little clip that I played, you talk about the activists you had on and all that. I mean, which is good. I mean, if you want to give a platform to political people, it's cool. But you know why you lost the spot at Hot 97? It wasn't because of the powers that be and they didn't want you to do this and they didn't want you to do that. It's the ratings. I said this in my previous video. If you don't get high ratings, you're gonna get canceled. It goes for any TV show. It goes for any sports show. It goes for anything that's on TV, movies, anything. If you're not getting the views or you're not getting people to tune in, you're going to get canceled. And you had a great run at Hot 97. Over 20 years. Sometimes you got to realize you got to move with the times. And in modern times, you have to stay relevant. And it seems like y'all was so stuck in 2015, 2016, you didn't want to move on. And this whole situation just shows me that a lot of these people that are, you know, I think Rosenberg, and they're around my age or whatever, you got to move with the times. You know what I'm saying? I know as I got older, you know, I still wanted to rap. But after a while, I said, nah, I ain't going to make this a career. I got to move on. I got to do something different. That's why I started doing YouTube videos. Because at the end of the day, you know, rap ain't paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is the place to go. And Ebro in the morning, they think that, oh, we could do this and people are going to love it and all that. Nah, man. They ain't going to love it, man. You got to come with some more bite than that. Even, you know what I'm saying? Even Jim Jones and them, much as grief I give Jim Jones and Dave East and Mano and Fab, they got a professional studio. So people are going to watch them because they have a professional studio, the name value and the studio value. You could have did something like what they did. They took the time and said, we're going to rent out the studio and do it like that. Look at Fabulous. Look, man, I'm giving you an example. Look at Fabulous, not Fabulous. Look at Fat Joe and look at Jadakiss. They putting in views out there at wazoo because of the presentation. I guarantee you, if Ebro, Rosenberg, and Laura Styles had a presentation like Jada and Fat Joe, they're pulling the views. But hey, let me know what you think, man. Is their podcast already done before it even started? It's your boy Jay here with another one. Make sure that like button, make sure that subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, folks, I'm out.